Welcome back to Game Time. You know, 3D, you don't get to be a two-time NBA Executive of the Year without being a tough negotiator, and Stan Kasten was all of that.
He was all of that, and this gentleman he's about to talk to, David Falk, he's known for getting all the money. So, Stan, take it away.
David, you've been involved in the NBA for over 30 years. You were very involved in the labor disputes of the 90s. So let's start by telling us, how did we get to where we are today?
Well, I think we got to where we are, Stan, because I think the disparities of interest on both sides of the table, there's a gross disparity of interest on the league side, on the team side, between the teams in the major markets and the teams in the smaller markets. And unlike the NFL, where they have significant revenue sharing, there is very minimal revenue sharing in the NBA, which makes it extremely difficult for teams in small markets like Utah or Memphis or Milwaukee to compete with the major markets in New York, Chicago, L.A., Boston. On the player side, I think that since '98, when Patrick Ewing was the president of the union has been dominated by the rank-and-file players in leadership positions. And so the interests of the majority of the players that they're looking to protect are the things that affect those middle-class players the most. And regretfully, while the bulk of the union is middle-class players, I don't think that's who the fans come out to see. I don't think that's the merchandise the fans want to buy. And so you have a situation where the players have become very socialistic since 1998. And I think they need to be more capitalistic. The owners are incredibly capitalistic, and they need to be more socialistic. So I think both sides have a backwards perspective as we go into this deal.
Well, you see, as a part of this collective bargaining, there's been a commitment on the part of the NBA to a far more robust revenue-sharing plan, and yet we don't see any of that give and take on the player side. We hear about this group of insurgent agents. What can you tell us about what's going on right now behind the scenes between this group of high-powered agents and the union, and vis-a-vis the rank and file?
Well, I think it's no surprise that when Billy Hunter became the president, the executive director of the union was almost dysfunctional. The union he inherited from Simon Gordine, and I think that there's been over the last 20 years, there's almost like three factions. There's like the league, the union, and the agents. And you'd think that the agents who do individual deals would be on the same page with the union that does the collective deal. But I can't say that that's been the case probably since 1998. I think the agents, I've not been a part of the discussions with these agents. They had a conference call today with 25 people. I was not invited to participate. I guess I'm not on the A-list anymore. But I think the agents are very frustrated with the lack of progress that the union has made in negotiating a deal. And so I think that they were prepared to take sort of matters in their own hands and try to force a decertification of the union, which I had advocated both 95 and 98, and I was called a radical. I was called anti-union for doing that. And I think that the union sort of beat them to the punch by disclaiming, because I think that Billy wanted to stay involved in the settlement discussions with the league.
Well, we now have a disclaimer. We have time running down on the season. How do you see this playing out? What's the timetable? Do you see us having a season from your standpoint, or do you see us still finding a way to make a deal and save the season?
Well, first of all, I was stunned. Two things happened yesterday that stunned me. Number one, I would have expected, as a negotiator, I've been doing this for 37 years, I would have expected that since the players had essentially accepted the 50-50 BRI split, that whatever systems issues they had a problem with, and there are many. I think the league really overdid the systems issues in the last proposal. I think that they should have come back and said, we're willing to make a deal at 50-50 with the following 4 or 5 changes, and given the league an opportunity to finally say no. I don't think there was any downside to that. I've been told that there was concern that if they did that, the league would go to 47%. Who cares? They weren't going to accept 47% anyway. And if the league had gone to 47, it might furnish a greater degree of damages in the suit that's about to be filed tonight. The second thing that stunned me, Stan, was that they didn't let the players vote as a group. It's incredible to me that the players stand to lose $2.166 billion, and 30 player reps are making the decision for 430 players that it's okay to lose that kind of money. I know we're in a representative democracy, but that the stakes are so high, I think every player deserved to vote. I think that the third thing I like to say is I think both sides, I think this is a monumental failure for the negotiators on both sides. And I think that the fact that we're having so much media coverage now, everyone loses the PR battle. There's nothing anyone can say that's going to soften the PR blow to the public. The public has zero sympathy in an age of 10% unemployment, with 15% of Americans below the poverty line, with a sovereign debt crisis in Europe and a stalled economy. I don't think anyone really cares whose fault it is. It's everyone's fault that we can't find a way to divide a $4 billion pie. And I think that, in my opinion, I've been saying this since the spring, I think it's highly unlikely that we're going to have another 50-game season like we had in 1998. And so I think if there's a 30-day window that it takes from the time we shake hands to the time we have a season, and we need to have a 65 to 70-game season, I think that we have a window of a couple of weeks, to get our house in order. And I'm not at all confident that will happen. I think we have a very short time left to save the season, and I think if we don't save the season, the losses are going to be, insurmountable.
Well, David, we know you've got to run. Thanks very much for coming on with us today.
I hope the next time we talk that you tell me I'm wrong and that we have a new deal.
Okay, thanks very much.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
All right, gentlemen, good conversation. NBA TV is launching a 6-part original series titled Open Court that will feature NBA and basketball stories with the players who lived them. Through a series of roundtable discussions hosted by Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, Steve Kerr, Reggie Miller, and Chris Webber share their amazing experiences in and around the game they love. And the first episode airs Tuesday, November 22nd, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be right back.